Do 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 do. See, I have to dance like this because Janky needs shit to edit. Dub being a buffoon.
We did it.
Yay! How's it going, dude?
Good, good. How is DKECon going?
It's so amazing.
I like the pause.
So, for anyone living under a rock for all this time, can you just introduce yourself? Tell people who you are and like how they can find you online and that kind of stuff.
Sure. I'm Scott Wilkowski. I'm a sculptor. So me and Dove go back about a decade now.
Whoa.
Even longer than a decade.
We'll go through the history. I just want people to know like the beginning, like where do they find you, like on Instagram and all your stuff?
Instagram is good. Scott Wilkowski. ScottWilkowski.com. Keep it the same.
So before we get to like DKE, let's talk about like your origin story. Like how'd you get into art? How'd you get into sculpting? And what was your life like pre-Dove?
Pre-Dove. So I went to school for industrial design. I always wanted to be, I guess I always loved toys. That was collected comics, collected all kinds of stuff, toys forever. Since I was little, I loved toys, much like everyone else here. Then after I graduated in industrial design, a friend of mine had gotten a job sculpting Christmas ornaments, like Toy Story and Hello Kitty and stuff like that. So right out of school.
But before that, had you been sculpting stuff as a kid? Like were you making shit out of clay and stuff?
Not really. Not until industrial design. I kind of made like my projects like my senior year focused on toys. So I wasn't really hand sculpting anything until college. But it was like pre digital sculpting, pre 3D printing. So we had to make everything by hand. So
you never sculpted a single thing until college?
I do have. I made this bust of Wolverine in high school. I have it here. I'm gonna grab it.
This is some legendary shit, people.
Oh, where did I put it? I might have wrapped it up.
Oh no!
Oh my goodness! I put the tease. It was just sitting here before, but I think I packed it away.
All right. Well, if you send me a photo of it, I can send it to Janky, and he'll do one cutaway in the entire interview, just so we don't blue ball everybody. So was it?
I know.
Can you just describe it to me? Was it like how on point was it?
It was quality. Man, this sucks. I wish I had it right here.
Well, the people who are watching this sometime in the future are actually seeing it.
I'll find it.
All right. So
yeah, I guess in high school I did sculpt a bust of Wolverine.
That's it. That was the one thing you sculpted. And then you went industrial design. And then how do you learn how to sculpt then?
I think I just could do it. I don't know.
What? Well, that's amazing. So, and then the Wolverine sculpt, did anyone help you, teach you any
we had to make busts, and the teacher didn't want me to make like cartoon ones, but I got a pass on that, and it's loud.
Wow. So what do you learn when you do industrial design? Like what kind of courses? What do you become? What kind of job do you get?
It could be anything. A lot of people from my school went into like shoe design, footwear,
but they teach you like CAD and all that, like well, that stuff.
Barely, it was kind of like all hand rendering. It was old school still.
So it's almost like architecture school. Like you're just like drawing.
We make like drills and like things like that. Household goods. Mostly.
And so were you happy? Like, did you think like this was going to be your life?
Yeah, I think so. What happened to me is I went on exchange to Germany for a year,
Mhm.
and it like kind of screwed me up for corporate world. Because then you could do whatever you want, you were free, and then I just like wanted to do like fine art stuff. I didn't want to like
So you're
make
just like
drills.
tripping out, getting stoned in Germany, and you're like,
Yeah,
fuck
riding
this
bikes.
shit, man. Like,
Mhm.
I'm dropping out. Like,
So when I got back, I was like not really prepared to like, make drills or make toasters.
so
I
then,
like
so
wasn't
where,
interested.
so at what point did like the bug for toys start? Because I think when I met you, you were already working for McFarlane.
So even before that, so the place that I first worked at, it was called Leisure, and they had full industrial design, whatever. I only worked there for a brief moment because, and this was in Minneapolis. Me and my friend knew of this toy sculptor, Steve Kiewis, who did like all the early Toy Biz stuff. He did all the LJN wrestlers, not all of them, but like lots of them. Pee-wee's Playhouse toys, all kinds of stuff. We knew about him, and we knew he's in Minneapolis. And then one year we went out to San Diego Comic-Con and sought him out. And basically he didn't have employees at the time. So, I mean, even more of the story, like he used to be partners with the owner of Leisure where we were working. I think he kind of wanted to hire us away from, it was like a split, like Steve and Leisure broke up. So I think he evilly wanted to like steal us from Leisure and hire us away. But he was doing all the cool stuff that we wanted to do. Like I got to work on Lord of the Rings toys and Spider-Man and stuff like that.
Which Lord of the Rings line? The Toy Biz line?
Yeah.
Wow.
The very
that was
first
a really expansive line. Like,
yeah. So like we got to see like all the production work before like the movies came out. It's all high top secret stuff. And you don't really even know like what are these characters like attitudes or anything. Like I worked on Merry and Pippin, but I didn't know what they'd be like on screen. So it was,
and then, so I guess what I can't wrap my head around is like where you like learn to sculpt. That's just like you just knew, like, I mean, you did something and like you had to prove to someone that you were competent before they give you a job, right? Like,
yeah, I mean, in high school, like there was a program where we went to school at like the art museum. Like we got to take a bus, leave school, and then go to the art museum to take classes like half the day. So
how many times did you do that?
like a half a year, like every day. Like I just
Okay.
like,
So that you had some art instruction, because you're
yeah,
making it seem
yeah.
like you're just like this like savant, and you're just
No,
like
no.
handed
I
to this
mean,
like
I've always been in school of
Wolverine
like
bust
since like
just
junior
popped out of your
high.
mind.
No. Even in
All right.
junior high and stuff, I was already like focused in art.
Got it.
So like all of my what are they called? Electives or whatever always were like art.
And so you're working for these toy companies, and then when does the personal work start?
Even in college, like I always wanted to do my own thing, but I just never did. And essentially, okay, so this is how it goes down.
Here's the dirt, everybody.
Yeah.
So it takes me like 10 minutes to just like pull it out, but here we go.
What had happened was it was in San Diego. So prior to the San Diego, while I was still working with Steve, I reached out to Jim Mahfood I was a fan, wanted to know if, like he would want to work with me. I want to make Smoke Dog. And he was like, yeah, cool. Like we did it. And I made it like a little, like a resin figure inside this clear plastic thing. And then the same year, Brian Ralph, he's a bookmaker, illustrator, Daybreak, his shows on AMC now. But the same thing, I made like a model kit, and then he screen printed boxes and made this like art item. So I just wanted to get involved somehow with like people that I admired. I had heard, now I didn't know anybody like in any of the toy realm. I had heard Brian Flynn had gotten one of the cave-in figures, so I went to like say hi. While I was talking to Brian Flynn, Kozik passes by, and Brian introduces me. He's like, Frank hires sculptors. Scott's a sculptor, and the handshake, like Frank had his like business card in his hand, the shake. So I like emailed. I go home. It was a fun San Diego. I go home. I email Frank, and I never heard anything back from him. But like, but then like maybe a month later, I get this email from DKE. Like, I didn't know you or anything. That was like, I just got on the list of like people.
So did you get on the list because of Kozik? Was Kozik the one?
Because of Kozik.
Oh, so Kozik passed you off to me. He's like, I don't know. I don't know what I can do with this guy here. And I was like, right.
And then eventually, you had the open call for people for the Yoka show.
Right.
Like, and so I was like, well, this is the invite. Like, if I'm ever going to do this, now is the time.
That was the time. So what happened for us is before that, we had the Vader Project. And the Vader Project was a huge show, but it only had 100 artists, and their work had to sell for a lot of money. Like, I had so many friends and other artists that wanted to be in one of our art shows, and like, I had to say no to so many people. They're like, can I be in the Vader Project? And I'm like, I can't give you $1,000 helmet to paint on because your work doesn't even sell for $1,000. Like, I can't. I'm sorry, like the finances of this don't make sense. And so we were looking for a show that we could do, that we invited everyone we knew. And Eddie from Adfuncher had just came up with this guy, the Yoka. And we're like, this is inexpensive. He gave them to us, or, we paid whatever it was. And I could put it in a small box and send it to someone in France, and they could send it back, and it wouldn't break the bank. And I think that was the goal. So I think we first premiered the Yoka show. What year was that, Ian? At DesignerCon? 2009? 2009. So that's where you got the call. So it was Frank Kozik was I guess I forgot that part. Frank Kozik was the glue. And so, so I think we had, did it say in there like 400 pieces in the show? Because they're sold and available. I don't know. There were hundreds and hundreds. And from that, I learned so much about what to tell artists. Like, if I ship it to you in this box, make sure it fits back in this box.
Not just like a padded envelope.
Because then the stuff started coming back like in these huge boxes, and the stuff floating in water. It's like I came up with this list, like no liquid. If you have big parts, make sure you can pull it apart and put it back together. All right, so we have this amazing show, right? It's all over the place. There's hundreds of these Yokas spread on these tables with these same black tablecloths that you can see covering these tables. And then this thing shows up. Dun, 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 right? Wow. And I forget if you sent 2 or 3. And I remember everyone setting up the show.
Just one, I think, maybe.
Was it just one? And we were just standing around looking at this thing. And I didn't know at the time about resin casting. I didn't know what the hell I was looking for. I knew that I sent you this vinyl toy. And what I got back was this. And I was like, holy fuck, what just happened? And it was like, there's a thing, it's inside of a thing. I don't know how we did this. And we're just like, and so we ended up booking the Yoka show at like, I don't know, right? Maybe 5 or 6 galleries. It just traveled, and then a few more of the pieces from the show would sell every time, except for your stuff, which you just kept sending like another 2 to 5 to 6 pieces for each show. and then we'd just keep selling out of your pieces at every show.
Well, I would imagine it would be like a bummer as like, let's say 50% of the show sells because it's one of a kind painted thing, then the next gallery has nothing to sell. So
it wasn't that bad because there were so many hundreds of pieces that if we sold, let's say there were I'm making up a number. Let's say we sold 50 out of 300 pieces at DesignerCon. When it plays at the next place, 250 pieces is more than most people can handle.
Right.
You know, and then if another 20 or 30 sell, if you keep going, if you show 200 pieces, it's still a show.
Yeah.
Nobody knows that you previously sold 100 pieces, like, and then new stuff that sells all the time. So, but I just know that every stop, which just kept calling you, like, can you send more of those? And you kept, right, doom. And then, so how did we come up with the idea for the show at DKECON, that first show? Do you remember that?
I think you just asked me.
It's all so foggy. It was so long ago. I know that I went around and asked all.
Yeah, I think you inquired other artists that had like platform pieces or things like that. And
so that first show at DesignerCon, that was what year? Ian has the calendar up there. What is it? 2010? Was that what was that show called? I should be more. That was Skin Deep, right? Skin Deep. We got the Luke 2011. So we got the Luke Chu Possessed, the Buff Monster,
the Labbit.
Was the Labbit part of that? No, Labbit was the next year. We had the Suckler piece, the October Toys Gwyn, and the Scott Tollison.
Are you sure the Labbit wasn't in there?
Labbit was of all ages.
Labbit was the next year, he said.
Oh.
And so that's that's when he did this guy.
Yeah.
And that was your first carded figure. So basically a collaboration with the Sucklord. It was your version of the Sucklord, and Sucklord did the card, which
now we have like 12 years later.
12 years later,
another Sucklord.
We're back to the Sucklord designing a card here.
Yeah.
And so let's talk about the process. I have some examples here I can show people. So you start with the thing that you're gonna, if you call it like that, you're gonna infect.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I sent you this, and so this is a vintage Voltron Panache Place, one of the bad guys. And I sent you all 7 bad guys. So this is hopefully one of 7 that will eventually be a thing, is what I hope. So what do you do with this?
I cast a wax.
So you make a mold and you cast a wax, and then you end up with something that looks sort of like this.
One in the process.
Oh, there you go. Okay, so and then once you have the wax, what are you doing?
I just decide what I'm gonna sculpt. Just whittle away.
Whittle away.
Make decisions on the go. There's not necessarily predetermined how it's gonna go. Like, so I didn't know ahead of time that this is how it would look. Mm-hmm. Once I start like handling it, it kind of guides me to how it should look, or what it should be, or what I wanna.
And so you whittled the wax that looked something like this into this guy right here.
Right. Even like the part of the ears or crown or horns, like that was, I don't know, it just was like, this is what I should do. It wasn't like predetermined.
Got it.
Like no sketching or anything, or no, I just kind of start getting into it.
And so once you've gotten this, what are you doing with this wax?
Make a mold. That's it.
It's not it. You make the mold, and then what? There's more to this process. Then
not really.
I'm gonna explain your process to you. You take this and then you put it back in your original mold.
Yeah.
And
because
then and then you pour clear and you end up with this.
Right. Since I'm working off of wax from the original shape, as long as I don't add anything to it, hypothetically, it should fit back inside by carving away.
Has that ever gone awry?
Sometimes you got to make some adjustments.
Right. But
It's harder, like, you know, because this is like it's not like a ball, so it like fits, you know, it locks
Right.
in, it doesn't float away.
And that's how you get it to sort of
Stay.
you described a sort of like equilibrium that it's sort of,
Yeah.
and then
Because like with
center.
those shoulders, like there's nowhere for it to run. Like no matter
Right.
how skinny you made any other part, it like keys in there.
And then you do stuff with the colors there.
Right.
Look at that. How exciting. And then the next one, so and the reason I suggested Voltron, I was trying to find something vintage for you to do, but you had previously done a Voltron sculpt, which was like unbelievable, right? That was like, I don't know, how tall was that? 6, 8 inches with all the cats inside. That was like, I was like, how could this complement that? So that's where we talked about the 7 bad guys from Voltron. So the next one in the series is this guy right here. And your wax would look something like this guy.
Original.
And then you whittled it down to that. You got one right there in your hand.
This is the original wax.
That's the original wax. Look at that. And then you wound up with that.
So this one's you want a teaser of the in progress?
Okay, yes, please.
You haven't seen it.
Because it's a teaser now. By the time Janky posts this in 5 years, it'll be old news.
Is it in focus? I can't tell.
Yeah. You hold it closer. Ooh, look at that.
So
I see. So when you,
but I didn't know he's gonna have like a spider on his chest until I started like fooling around with this shape, and then I'm like, it's giving me some spider vibes.
so are you still doing any industrial design? Are you still doing sculpting for hire for other people?
No, just myself.
So you just have become a self-realized artist who's pursuing your own, I don't know, madness.
Right, madness is the word.
Wow. Yeah. And so you don't look back on that, like, you know, sculpting for McFarlane or Toy Biz or any of that stuff. Like, was that a chore? You look at that
No.
fondly?
There's a lot of life reasons why the path went this way.
Sure.
I had no ill feelings towards any of that. I loved doing it. Now I'm a dinosaur though, like because I don't digitally sculpt. I have no place. I've become extinct.
Oh no. Do you have no desire?
I don't really have a desire. Not right now. Maybe I'll get one. I don't know. Maybe I'll get a printer. Sounds fun. Everyone's looks like they're having a good time with it.
Right. And so,
but I still, even if I do, I don't think I want to do it for hire like that.
I see. But your personal style, the thing that you've, the way that you've infected all of these pre-existing things, they're all, how should I say this nicely? They're all fucking evil, dude.
I don't know what it is.
What's wrong with you?
I don't know. I want to make cute stuff, but then it just turns out like this.
I don't see happy faces, man. I see like dead animals and skeletons and like,
I know,
death and
like,
destruction and infection and disease.
I don't have an answer.
Oh boy.
It's what comes out.
Wow. And so do you have like, family, like, what do they think of what you do? Like, to,
Recently, so I have a 13-year-old daughter,
yeah.
and then she saw like a TikTok of someone talking about my work, like a young girl, like all into it. I think it was the Tom Nook piece.
Yeah.
And then she was like, it like got suggested to her somehow. And then she's like, oh my God, like
Just
my
because
dad,
of her name.
my dad is getting shared on TikTok, and like, you know, like it kind of like blew her mind a little bit.
Wow. So before it was just like, this is my fucked up dad, and then after
Yeah.
that it's like, dad's cool.
Like he's in the basement making weird stuff, like by himself all day, you know.
Wow, that's magical.
She's
And
weird.
so so is this, had you ever, when you were a kid, did you ever imagine like that this would be your life?
I spent a lot of time in the basement when I was a kid,
Oh
playing
yeah.
by myself, so it's not much different that I'm just sitting in a basement. Like I think it always seemed natural.
Mhm. And do you, are you naturally an introvert?
I guess so.
I mean, do you walk into a room at a party and they're like, hey, and you like start talking to
No,
people
it
and like,
depends on what the crowd is. If it's not my
well,
crowd, no. I mean, if it's not my
well,
crowd, I wouldn't even be there. I
right.
guess that's the point.
If it's your crowd, like your
Yeah,
reputation, that's like me. I'm an introvert, but if it's my people, they already
yeah.
know
Then
me. I walk in the
all
room, it's
great,
like, hey, it's Dove. It's like
right?
you already have rapport. It's easy, but
It's with the
yeah,
magic of like DKECON and all that. It's so fun to like hang out with everyone.
right.
All the
Hmm.
conventions. I mean, this is
Everyone's
a nice surrogate to that. Like, I haven't talked to anyone in months, so.
wow. That's I'm not sure how to take that. So
That's why things look so creepy.
this kid playing in the basement. So did your parents like ever think like this was weird? Like did part of the decision to go to college, like was that like, did you have pressure from like parents? Like
No, so I have an older sister, and
Mhm.
she claimed she wasn't allowed to leave the area to go to school. Like she had to stay in the Milwaukee area, and she
Mhm.
resented it. I guess I never cared what my parents thought. Like,
Mhm.
you know, I just did what I did. Even when I was young, like ride bikes to another like neighborhood, like
Mhm.
miles away, like no one knows where you are, you know, like skateboarding and all
Sure.
that. So so my decision, I mean, I did stay in state, but it was like some kind of art teacher in high school. It's like, your work looks like industrial design. I didn't know what industrial design was, but I was like,
Mm.
okay, Stout has industrial design. I guess I'll just go there. Like I didn't give it that much thought.
Right.
I just like left. It was close to Minneapolis.
But you knew people like had careers in sculpting. I guess when
No.
did no?
I had no like influence of artists or anything like from the family. Like they were just like factory workers.
Hmm.
I have yeah, no
So
real support system. I just kind of did what I wanted to do.
so would you, I see. So the background, like, so you're not getting a lot of even like understanding of like an what an artist is or what
Not
the
even till
motive.
today.
Not even till today, right?
No,
That makes me cry inside.
I know it's terrible.
Um, so the projects that you're working on now, I mean, do you ever, is it always project motivated? Is it always like someone like me calling and saying, hey, do you want to do this? Or do you ever just start working on something because you want to work on it?
I think I enjoy the collaboration. I
Uh-huh.
think mostly because of the time away from people is so much that I enjoy.
Is that a COVID thing, or that's just in life?
Just in life in general. I mean, it's because I live in Milwaukee. Like, no one's here.
Right.
The circle isn't around me, so.
Sure. And then it snows, and then it just like you just even
it's like
recede even more into
the
like
winter.
Wow.
But I do like collaborating.
Mhm.
I think I mean, it's a good metaphor for Voltron even, you know, you gotta like combine the pieces to make the team.
Sure.
Robot. So I enjoy finding myself or my part inside of like the other piece. It just like feels good. Like compared to just like making my own thing, which I think about, but like, I don't know. Sometimes.
Yeah. Like, what would your own thing look like?
I don't know. That's a good
Does it get darker?
No, it should be happier.
Does it get more fucked up?
But then,
It'd be
of course, like if I'm going to do a skeleton inside, it's going to end up dark again.
It would be amazing if like your personal work that was just, you know, straight out of your own mind was just like little happy ponies and shit with rainbows. Like,
yeah, I mean, I think it would probably be like that. I just got to make it.
So what's the future for Scott Wilkowski? I mean, have you made it? Like you're a star on TikTok? Like
I can't retire. I don't think there's any retiring though. There's just like
I don't know any artist that can retire.
You know.
that was an amazingly sad answer. The right answer is that like I'm going to continue to create for the rest of my life because it makes me happy and fulfilled.
Yeah, it's a life sentence. What are you gonna do?
I don't know.
Could be worse things to do.
It could be. I mean, I guess you could be stuck in the factory, right?
Yeah.
Well,
I get to travel to, you know, hang out.
It's nice.
What more do you want?
I guess you're living the dream.
Living the dream. My friends live in the dream.
You know. Right. All right. Well, I'm gonna go cry in the corner.
I got this interview out of the way. Bringing everyone down.
I mean,
I'm happy about doing it all. I like it.
I think the theme of all of these interviews are all sort of the same, right? Maybe it's just me just being depressive, like, you know, but I think if there's any theme of all of the interviews that I've done, it's always about the struggle to find yourself and find a place, I guess, where you belong and a way to get by and not, you know, it's like to like eliminate self-loathing, right? It's to like not hate yourself. So it's like most artists I know, when they're working on things that they love and enjoy, regardless of, you know, the pressures of the world outside, are, you know, are fulfilled, I guess. You know, I mean, that's what I take away, is that because you can go get a job in the factory. I mean, it probably doesn't exist anymore, but you know what I mean? It's like the metaphor is there, like, but I think you're one of, I mean, I venture to say that you're one of the lucky ones. I mean, you found a niche, you create stuff, like people know you. If you create something, you put it online, people like send you money. Like you're sort of the master of your own destiny, as much as that's possible.
For sure.
Am I cheering you up?
Yeah.
Every time he says yeah, I never believe him.
Oh man.
Well, I'm gonna chalk this up to one of the most amazing interviews I've ever done.
I'll find that Wolverine.
Yeah, I can't wait to see that. All right. Well, I'm looking forward to the rest of these because I don't know. I just think as a set, when all 7 of these are on a shelf with the Sucklord work behind you, I think I don't know. I'm very, you know, I don't know, getting a little jaded, and I'm not excited about too much lately. And
I like continuing the legacy of the collaboration with the Sucklord pieces.
yeah, I mean, I think his card backs for your work is really a good fit. He really, because he made it not about Voltron.
Yeah.
He just created 7 characters. He gave them all their own story, and then the way he created the images of them, you know, that this got turned into like this. What's that? Like the
Right.
is that the Red Skull from Marvel?
It is.
But then my favorite thing, he's like, hey, you know, I made Scott a logo. He owes me, you know. It's like
that's a good
this
one.
this
I like
logo's. I think you should use that. I think that's a W from Whitman, right? The old Whitman, like puzzles and comic books from the 50s.
Yeah, that's good.
All right, dude. Well, keep up the good work. Don't kill yourself, please.
All right. Okay.
Try to find happiness and joy in what you do, even though you're creating the devil's work. But we love you over here, and we're really proud of you. So
thank you. If I find that bus, I'm going to come back on to Zoom and then show it. I'm going to look for it right now.
oh no, he's gonna spend like 5 hours later. He's like, I found it. Awesome, dude. Thank you again. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
We'll talk to you soon. Take care, man.
Bye.
Love me some Scott Wilkowski.